Okay, so last lecture today. We're going to go through. I'm just going to go through what a business planning, things like that, some simple stuff. Just to go over, make sure you have everything you understand. But first, any questions about anything so far, or we'll do more question at the end, right? Okay, let's just go on. So today, basically to sum up everything, the idea of making a business, finding what to do, finding the right thing to do, how to build a company, but that's all mechanical, because how many companies go bankrupt? Too many people start a business, go bankrupt, because they learn MBA, right? They get degree. You learn the basic skills of running a business, right? But that's what I wanted to give you in this course, is the understanding of the personality, the mind that doesn't go bankrupt. Because when things are up and down, you know how to change and adapt and deal with the problems, right? Okay. So, so you were given the task of making a business. You're still doing your business, the one of buying and selling stuff? Huh?
The flipping business.
Right. So is it growing? How's it going?
I made an additional of 2,000 last week.
2,000 last week. All right. So, so is that increasing week over week, or it's up and down?
It depends on the products.
Right. Okay.
Opportunities.
But you feel it's viable, it can grow. Okay, so you're happy with that. And the other things you could do was being the freelance accountant. Did you diversify and also try to get customers to do their basic taxes and accounting? Okay, you didn't. All right, why didn't you?
I don't want to continue with that of accounting.
Okay, because you don't want to do accounting. That's interesting. So you went to school, you got a degree to do something you don't want to do. That's why did you do that?
Because I was good at it, but I don't like it.
Okay, but you followed it because you were good at it, but you don't like it. Okay, so now here is again how to be an entrepreneur and find your direction. What are your skills? And then take those skills and find out where you can do something you like. So, what were you really good at? In other words, were you good at being an accountant, or were you good with numbers, or what was it that you're really good at? As if you're from another planet and you don't know the list of professions, and accounting is up there. You don't know what an accountant is, but you know you're good at doing whatever it is you're good at doing. How can you use that skill to make some other business, some new idea? Okay? So, what things in life bother you? And what are you good at doing? And where do you get some new ideas? Okay? So what about you, Andre? You didn't start your business, or did you? No. Okay, why not?
I've been prioritizing my time on something else.
Okay.
Skill development.
On skill development. Okay. So when will you start your own business?
I'm not sure yet if I will start the business.
Okay, so what are you going to do for your whole life? Perpetual student, always get more skills, but not put them to use? Or what is your plan?
I think that I want to start a business, but that I've not been focusing on it for
Okay.
last month.
All right. So you want to do something, you just don't know when.
It will be in my 20s before I turn 30.
Before you turn 30. Okay, that's good and vague. All right. That's nice. Very accurately vague. Okay. So remember, I'm teaching the mind of an entrepreneur, which means enterprising, which has nothing to do with business itself. So what will you do until you're in your 30s? Because if you put something off, what are you, 18? How old you are?
I'm 22.
You're 22. So if you put something off for 8 years or within a span of 8 years, that's basically saying infinity, right? So what are you going to do in those 8 years? Let's say, yes, I'm determined at 30, I'm going to start my own business. Okay. So what are you going to do? So where are you going to use the enterprising mentality? So what are you going to do in this time until you would start your own business?
Right now I'm on a studying track, so that's why I've been focusing more on this right now. Because next year I will be starting my work placement with the company and continuing my studies.
Okay. So is that what you want to do for the rest of your life?
It's just the path on which I am right now.
Don't divert the question.
Yeah.
Is that what you want to do for the rest of your life?
For the rest of my life, I don't think that that's what I would be doing.
It is.
No,
Oh, it's not.
I'm not sure that this is what.
Okay. So you're 22 is not young, is not old, but it is, you better start picking some clarity for your life. Enterprising, an entrepreneur mentality is, I know what I want to do. That's why success, there's no such thing as a successful entrepreneur, because a failed entrepreneur isn't an entrepreneur. Okay? So to be an entrepreneur means I know what I want to do. I know what I want to achieve. I know where I'm going. And again, that's why I say I'm teaching the mentality. It's not about business, it's about our life. So you need to get some clarity of what matters, what you want to do with your life. Okay? So I suggest stay with your path, of course, whatever you're happy with, but at the same time, look for things that bother you. Because when we're not clear, you're not clear about your life, what you want to do. So it means you're little, little like this, okay? And you'll waver a little bit here and there until there's something that narrows you down, gives you focus. So if you take what I've taught here and you always look for things that bother you, one day there will be some idea you get that will give you a direction for your life, all right? And that's the most important thing, because people can go through their whole life with no direction. You survive, yeah, it's okay, but it's no fun. So keep looking for that idea. And I mean, you have your idea and businesses and many things, but did you get like anything out of this course to give you some clarity or direction or new ideas?
Yeah, we're trying to redress 3 fast food outlets. Was asking you what advice last time. And yeah, I'm sure we managed to put it through. But then for my own dreams, my own self-fulfillment, I think I want to do some product transformation in Mauritius for all the goods which are going to come via our way, for all the FTAs which are in place. For example, I was near to conclude for the wine, for the rum, for the gin coming from South Africa. And all I had to do was to do some 35% transformation to the product and say, ship it over to China, India. But then my dad decides to sell his old factory. But anyway, this is one of my pet projects.
Okay. So if your dad decided to sell the factory, why didn't you buy it?
It's too much for me. Right now, it's too much.
You could tell him, Dad, am I in your will? I can speed things up.
Yes, two brothers to share.
Yeah, no, I'm joking around. Okay. What about whoever buys the factory, you make a deal with them?
Yeah, this is a possibility.
Yeah.
But, it seems that a big concern is going to buy.
Okay. So, and then they'll do their own thing. Okay. So you've got an idea. You had a supplier. You no longer have the supplier. Is the idea something you really love that you want to do? Or is it, that's a good idea for what I have available, having had the factory?
Yeah.
Which way is it?
It's both. Being born in a manufacturing environment, this is something I wanted to add value to. Like
Okay.
we were doing only local wines, I wanted to do some imported stuff. So this is one this is one of a pet project. This is one of the
Mhm.
I say passion even.
Okay.
In chemistry as well. But then I have other things like I was telling you, digital painting as well.
Okay. So are you, well, is there a way to save the alcohol business, or are you working on, focused on really building any of these other businesses, the ideas?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to focus well,
Right?
but also the business I'm in actually needs my focus as well, because otherwise I can have a big
Yeah.
claim and there can be a gap in cover. So I have to, like I say, I have to do 50% what I'm actually doing, but
Okay.
50% I look.
All right. Now,
elsewhere.
this is another good example about going forward, having too many things to do. Okay? I had many companies. At one point, I owned 8 companies that were all operating. You have to choose. Do you want a business that you run, that needs you? Or do you want businesses that can run themselves so you get the profits and just touch and oversee? Okay? So when choosing what you do and building a company, depending on what you want, like a lot of people, they need their business, and they need their business to need them, because a human needs to feel important. So when you're building a business or doing anything, you have to always bear in mind, am I doing this the best it could be done for itself? Or am I doing this in a way that it will always need me? You know, job security. This is emotional security. It always needs me.
In my
Yeah.
case, no, I don't want to develop vocational hobbies.
Vocational hobby,
I
good.
Take care of it,
Yeah.
but I can move forward with
Yeah,
my
yeah.
own stuff.
I'm just taking as an example.
Unfortunately, it's the case in local ownership.
Okay. Now, if you are in something that is not the way you want it to be, you have to also consider selling, getting out of it. Remember, everything you start has, the first stage of looking at a new project is, how do I get out? Where is my exit? You need to start everything with knowing how you'll get out. Otherwise, you will be trapped. And you don't want to be trapped. That's not a very nice life. Okay? So, when you're building anything, you have to always watch, am I building something that gives me meaning and purpose, so therefore I cannot let it grow? One thing I was doing was helping family-owned small companies that were going bankrupt. I'd help them restructure. And it was inevitably the cause of the problem was the owner built the company, and then he kept trying to control it. So what can one person do? Is limited in our capacity, so therefore it cannot grow beyond what one person can handle. Well, even if it grows with employees, still only if one person's controlling everything, you only have so much time, right? Yeah. So your business isn't your business. As an entrepreneur, the business isn't your business. Your business is having businesses, okay? Which means that everything you do must also be done in a way that it can and will outgrow me. So I've got to think about everything I'm doing. How can this get bigger, unlimited bigger, without me being necessary? Right? That's how Jeff Bezos took an online book selling and built Amazon, which is going into space even, right? So always keeping that in mind. So make sure you're not the critical part of a business. Now, this is where humility and arrogance comes in. Cultivating a character which is humble allows you to let the business grow beyond your own capacities. And that's very important if you want it to thrive, but more important if you want you to thrive. My accountant in Montreal, every time he's just complaining, he hates this business, he hates this job, he hates it. Well, he's a partner in the company, he hates it. He's always complaining how much he hates it. And I said, why don't you stop? You're wealthy enough. He said, yeah, but I love the money and they need me. So he was a partner, you know. So that's not a good life, right? I don't care about business. I don't know if I want to teach the entrepreneur idea again because I don't really teach business. Business doesn't matter. To be a successful entrepreneur, life has to matter. The experience of your life and the business is merely another experience and part of your life. That way, you are not choking it to death because you need to hang on to something to give you meaning and purpose. Okay? So that is where you will succeed, when you realize that all your business ventures are adventures, projects, fun things to do, which provide you an income. As soon as it's making you unhappy, it's time to take your exit strategy and implement it and get out. And that could be sell it, close it, or replace yourself. If you find someone who is capable, but really good person, you can offer them a work to earn share. You run the company, you run it well, then you'll earn a share, 5% a year, something like that, until you get 50%. Okay? So there's ways you find somebody to run it. So whatever your exit strategy is there, you have to be ready as soon as you're not happy. Because there's no point being rich and miserable. Okay? So continue looking for things that bother you and see what new ideas you get. And I'm going to give you like one example here. Recycle collection. Okay. So recycling, we all know. Recycling is very difficult in Mauritius. There's not many people doing it. You collect all your plastic bottles, your paper, whatever it is. You don't know where it goes in the garbage. We don't like it. Bad for the environment. Bad for the self-esteem, maybe, for some people. Okay. So, recycle, you want to help recycling. That's something. Okay, we're using that as an example. Here is a company that feels the same way. So what they did is they organized all sorts of different companies that do recycling of different kinds of products, paper, plastic, electronics, metal, and they created this business as a directory to put people in touch with the right recyclers. Okay, good idea. But now the problem is I have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm not going to bother traveling to the other side of the island. Okay? So I found a problem. There's no recycling, not easy to recycle. Okay? I found a quasi-solution. Someone's organized and told me who the recyclers are. If they didn't exist, you could get into that recycling business. Okay? So there's the two options. You start recycling company, or, okay, we found them. Now what is, the problem is getting stuff collected to the recyclers. So you create a new business out of what you don't like, which is organizing the collection of recyclable materials. So what I don't like is there's a lot of litter and garbage, a lot of things to recycle. We don't have a place. We find a way to do it. Build the recycling company myself, or find a company who's doing that. Right, next, collecting the products. Okay, there's nothing to do for that. So you see I have one thing that bothers me. Look for that, okay, found a solution, but there's still a problem with it. Find a solution. So now you can organize with a recycler how you can get paid for product and then organize a collection of product. Just to give an example, you get 2 rupees per plastic bottle. Okay, let's say that's what you can get paid. Get 2 rupees per plastic bottle. So now you can have kids run around house to house collecting, come on, no, okay, collecting plastic bottles and give them 1 rupee per bottle. And that way you get kids to work, they get busy, they get some money, people get the solution to dealing with their recyclable waste, and you now have a business. Okay, so now your business is, because you didn't like about recycled waste, that you organize people to collect. And then either you can drive the whole collection to a recycler once a month or once a week, or you can hire someone else to drive it there for you. If it's enough volume, it'll pay for the truck. So there you've found something that bothers you, found the solutions, and done it in a way where you are not actually important or necessary. Okay? So that's just an example of how to find something that you like. Now that can grow into you getting your own plastic recycling machine. You know, get a small machine that can crush or melt or whatever it does to plastic bottles, and then you can get the kids to collect, so you have a huge supply. Then you can compress, condense that into a plastic which is usable for some other manufacturing. And you can either sell it if someone uses it here or begin exporting it. So you've created a whole business idea here. Now, if that business grows enough and is unique and not common in other countries, because it becomes a cottage industry recycling instead of a big factory, you can then replicate that in other countries. Okay? So you see how one thing that bothers you can be grown into something that's much bigger. All right? So it's that concept that when your mind is always looking for problems and you find something that bothers you, can lead you to find solutions and ideas. All right? But it's all based on, I don't know anything, so I go to find the answer, but never stop until I find an answer. What I say is for me, if I can't buy it, I make it. That's an entrepreneur, okay? I can't buy it, I make it. If it doesn't exist, I don't say, well, it doesn't exist and give up. I say, well, then I will make it. That's the key. If I can't buy it, I make it. So find anything you like, whether it's something you want or a problem or something you don't like, and if it doesn't exist, make it. And if it does exist, make it better. Okay, that's the basics. So then, is there any question about that? That's cool? Good? Okay. So now, I mean, just some basics on the business side of it. Here's on the recycling collection, for example. What will the equipment cost you? What will, if you need opening inventory, what are 6 months operating costs, okay? So you figure out your setup cost. Then your operating expenses. Figure out what rent, electricity, phone, utilities, whatever they may be, all right? A lot of things will be zeros, perhaps, if you have a standard list of expenses. But make your expenses, make your cost to set up. So I'm just showing you some ideas. Then you'll have a financial statement, you know, 1 year over the next year, different costs and things like that. It's not hard, okay? If you think you need a format, financial format, you're wrong. You don't need this to start. What you need is the idea and then see where you spend money, and then you know how to build it. Because if I need to rent a place, oh, okay, I'll put rent. If I have a phone, oh, okay, there's another expense, okay? You build this P&L or list of expenses as you use things. And that's where things go wrong in business school. Or Mauritius, the government is trying to help people be entrepreneurs, okay? But what they do is they teach ladies to sit home and weave baskets and then sell their baskets. Anything beyond that kind of business, they don't understand. They don't know how to help people. So they have their standard list, okay? Then you're just in a box. That's not being an entrepreneur. So it's not necessary. That's why I don't focus on this kind of stuff. Because you will build this as you spend the money, as you progress in your business, okay? Then things like this, business plan summary. That's one of the companies I was hired to build in New Zealand. Sorry? Yeah, that's the right one. Okay, you make a business plan summary. What is the idea of your business? Okay? I love this guy. Yowza is a non-irritating internet shopping site. So this fellow who got the idea hated the ads that he'd see on shopping sites. So that bothered him so much, he said, let's build one that we find a different way to make money that is without advertising. Okay, this is quite a long time. This is like 20 years ago. Things are different now. But just to show you what an idea comes from something that bothers you. So he found the advertising irritating, okay? So he got the idea to build this other internet shopping site. So there you go, you write down your idea. Very simple. Nothing technical about it. Your mission statement, why are we doing it? What do we really want to do? Okay? And his goal, well, his mission statement will become a household name. Through how, what do you want to do? How are you going to do it? High profile TV advertising presence, okay? And that was his idea. And then what are your goals? What do you want? We want to have 300 paying businesses linked by this date. All right? Total paying links to be 2,000 nationwide in 5 years. Those are our goals. We all know that, right? We need the steps, what we want to achieve. So you make your goals. And then how are you going to do it? And a schedule. Now, this is where I come to by 30. Okay. We must have schedules, like plans, deadlines. It's very important to have a deadline for a couple of reasons. But one reason is it gets you to be realistic. Gets you to be realistic. If you are setting your goals and your timeline, and it's not realistic, your subconscious mind loses incentive, loses motivation, okay? If you don't have specific goals and steps to achieve them, which is the action plan, how you're going to do it, and the schedule, you don't have direction. So why is that so important? They'll tell you a whole bunch of reasons, and I don't know if anybody tells you what I think. The reason is a human is a dumb animal, okay? You're a dumb animal. Why are you a dumb animal? Because you're so easily distracted. You cannot naturally get clarity, be focused, be devoted on your own. You need someone to give you discipline. Now, every child wants discipline. It's human nature. We want guidance. We want discipline. And this is why most people will not get into business for themselves. And they'd rather have a job, because a job gives them discipline. So we have to know the deep nature of the dumb animal of a human being is that we need discipline, we need focus, clarity. But if you're not aware of your needs, you'll subconsciously look for where it can be fulfilled. And if you're needing purpose and meaning, you're needing discipline and someone to make the rules so you can get up in the morning at a certain time and do whatever you need to do, you will subconsciously always stay in a job, stay limited, okay? We need to, can you turn this one off, please? We need to know our weakness in order to overcome it, okay? You must know your weakness in order to overcome it. So you need a boss. Now, the entrepreneur is their own boss, and he's a very strict boss. Here are the rules. This is what you're going to do, and you will have it done by this date, okay? And that's the hard part. That's why there's so few entrepreneurs, true entrepreneurs, because it's very hard to give yourself these kind of demands and rules to follow. So I can't change your personality. I can only show you what to change, what you need to do, all right? So we need the action plan. And then you need a summary of who's involved. Who is the person? What have they done? Okay? Somebody asked me to raise funds for a very big project, $200 million, property development. And I looked at who the people were. I have investors who could put in that kind of money if a project is good. So I said, okay, but before I present it, I have to believe in it. And when I looked at who was involved and running that project, I did not see anybody who knew what they were doing in relation to that kind of project. So remember that you have a project, it's going to cost so much money. You either have the money or you have to get the money. So if you need to get the money, you need to impress the person who you're asking for the money from, be that a bank or an investor or whoever. They need the confidence. And so after you go through all of the other steps and you've made your plan, your action plan, the cost analysis, everything, you need to make sure, if you're trying to get confidence from someone, that the people are very skilled in fulfilling the purpose, the task that they will be assigned or they're part of the project. Okay? And that page with the people is what will be the final decision point for an investor. Okay? For example, I was a consultant to one project. It was a show tour, and the woman who was organizing it wasn't able to get confidence from people to agree to work with her and so on, so she hired me. And when I was there, okay, people were trusting it and going along with it, and we built a very successful show. She made several $1 million well, the show was only 10 days, but so that was great because people saw my resume. 2 years later, she wanted to run the show again, do another tour. And she thought, why pay David the fee? I know what I'm doing. So she tried. And then eventually she came to me and said, David, could you please work with me? Because no one will work with me without you. Okay? Now, I didn't actually do very much. She did everything. But the investors, the promoters, the, advertisers, all the people were only willing to go along because of me, because of my resume. All right? So, and I really didn't do much. But they didn't care. They felt somebody who was capable is in the project. I mean, this is a multi-million-dollar project. Okay? It's not, no offense, but not just, 2,000 rupees. But even if it is 2,000, 10,000 rupees a month, whatever it is, whoever is going to work with you needs to have the confidence that the people involved are skilled and capable and reliable, okay? So you need to build a professional summary. Now, that means that, no, I'm sorry, it does not mean that the people have to be active day to day. So if you're building something you need, 5 million rupees, 10 million rupees, 20 million rupees, whatever it is, something bigger, and you go to the bank, you want the money from the bank. You need to list people that will be there involved, but they don't actually have to do much. As long as you're able to call that person and say, you're my marketing advisor, I have a question. What do you think? And that could be one time per month or one time per year. It doesn't matter. What matters is that their name and credentials are on your business plan, okay? So this is the reality of the world, is that it's all image when you're going for financing, or if you want to get customers. You need to show that you're a professional, reliable, expert team, okay? So when you want to expand your business and you need funding, that is one of the most important parts of your presentation, that those people are involved. So as long as they are real people and you do have a connection that you can talk to them and they agree to let you put their name on your plan, you do it. I'm on several people's business plans. I never get involved in the business, but they put me there, okay? So, yeah, and that being the end of your business plan is the end of the course. Okay, so I hope you really get it that success in anything is simply an idea and the discipline to do and the discipline to stop doing. Not to do and let someone else do for you. So your mind continues to find new problems and new ideas. So I was hoping that, okay, well, you're writing, keep writing. Right? So my plan for this course was that you would have more projects that you did so we could review what you've done, what obstacles you came up with, what questions you might have, and that would make a large part of the material for the course, okay? I was also hoping that people would show up every time. Was expecting that. But that shows where you'll succeed or not succeed. If you really want something, you'll be early. I'm always early. Why? Being early to a meeting is respecting the other person's time. Everything, your whole life is based on your personality. How do you behave? How do people see you? Do they trust you? Do they know you respect them? Are you arrogant or humble? Are you confident? Do you know what you want? Okay? So you can begin to know what you want when you don't know by knowing what you don't want. It's the same thing. Find what bothers you. Find what you don't want. Think of yourself old, 60 years old, and the life you do not want to live. What do I know I don't want? I know I don't want to be living in a rented apartment of 2 rooms and have 17 grandchildren where I don't have money to buy them Christmas presents. You know, what kind of horrible image can you think of for when you're 60? Think of a horrible image of your life and say, oh, wow, I really don't want that. The principle is very simple. It's based on how to get a human being to run their absolute top speed. How to get you to run the fastest you really can run. And it is not by putting a gold medal at the end of the finish line. It's by having a man-eating lion chasing you. Right? That'll get you to run a lot faster. So that's why your goals, people have dreams and goals. I want this, I want that, blah, 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 but I can't get motivated and this and that. No, but oh my God, you mean I'm going to be that when I'm 60? Oh no. So think about, imagine, visualize what you definitely do not want to be. And hopefully that helps to give you some incentive to endure. And then you know, things like work 20 hours a day if you have to, 7 days a week if you have to, for a period of time until you get what you need. What are you willing to sacrifice, you know? Live on 1 chocolate bar a day because you don't want to spend the money on food, so you save the money so you have it to invest. I'm only saying things I did, okay? So, yeah. What more can I tell you? Can you go and tell them we're almost ready for the certificates, please? Yeah. I guess. I'm finished. I can tell you more stories. We can chit-chat, we can do things, but as far as the course goes, I'm going to look at the next slide. Oh, it doesn't even show. End of show. It's black. Okay, that's it. There's nothing there. See? Nothing, nothing. Nothing coming. I'm pushing, nothing happening. What to do? I don't know. So, yeah. So that's the end of our thing. So now it's really your questions. What do you want to know? What ideas? Whatever. Staring contest. I'm teasing you. So focused. Very good. But you haven't shown me that you're focused about your life. What's going to happen if you're not focused? Where will you be? Get married, have 6 children, then they grow up and they move overseas. Well, you know, I make my stories exaggerated and more fun. So, you know, and then they grow up and then they're overseas. And you're here 55 years old, your children are all overseas, and what do? No, you need some more clarity. I know that's not going to be you, but yeah. Anyway, I don't know what more to say. So you can ask questions or whatever. You told them we're ready? Okay, so we'll have your certificates and all of that. Okay. So anyway, that's the first time I made this course here. I hope it was enjoyable, useful. I know it's useful if you make use of it. But we need more interaction. How am I going to get you to jump Where can we put that fire under you to say, I am not willing to accept life? You know, Andy has been with me for like 20 years. We talk much more than just about business. We talk about life, how to deal with life in general, his marriage and whatnot. And what limits people is what you're taught in the world. What does it mean to be humble? Yeah, okay. No, I mean, we're kind of finished now. So we can, anytime you're ready. Okay. Things like, what does it mean to be humble? And he said, well, to do whatever anyone else wants. But that's not humble. That's just so that you feel better about yourself. So we have to think about, what does it mean to be really humble? What does it mean to be arrogant? Is arrogant to say, like we stopped to get the coconut water and the guy's on the side and it's muddy grass and stuff like that. So I asked the two of them, can you please go and get the water so I can stay in the car? Is that arrogant? No. Why? Because I'm here to give a talk. And Andy is here, he wants to make a nice film. So if I go there and I get dirty, that's no good. So it's not arrogant. It is what is right at the moment. Andy was working on his editing, and Van was helping with my TikTok videos, and there were a lot of dishes, and the kitchen was a mess, and the floor was dirty. So I cleaned the floor, I washed the dishes, okay? So humility, arrogance, isn't that someone who demands everything for themselves, someone who orders other people around, or someone who's, I'll do for you, I'll do for you, I'll do for you. No, it's doing what is right at that moment, objectively. What is right at that moment? In my photo stores, that's a production, so you have a lot of garbage building up, a lot of customers coming in. In Montreal, in the winter, you have a lot of mud and puddle on the floor. So I had all my companies, so my job was running from shop to shop and business to business to oversee things, right? So when I'd come into the photo shops, and it's a busy day, everyone is working, I took down the garbage, I mopped the floors. Doesn't matter. I was in one of my stores, Atlantis, the gem store, and a girl who was in my Tai Chi class, you know, was just shopping, came in the store, and she saw me there. And she said, oh, I didn't know you worked here. And I said, yep. She says, you know, what do you do? I said, well, I stock the shelves, I serve the customers, clean the floor. I told her what I did, literally. And she said, oh, don't worry. If you work hard enough, one day you'll make it. I owned the store. But you see, I don't need to be, oh, I own the store, I'm a big shot. Okay? It's that I do what's necessary. Okay? And then at times, what's necessary is giving shit to my employee who screwed up, or firing someone, or telling them, you go and get me lunch. I had one girl, I told her, I was very busy, and I said to her, okay, you know, I'm busy with this. Okay, you go to the restaurant, pick up my lunch, and buy whatever you want for yourself. So I'll buy you lunch. And she said, I'm not your servant. I don't have to go get you your lunch. You know, that's not my job. And I said, no, it is your job, because your job is to do what I tell you. I am paying you to work for me. And I'm not telling you to dance naked outside to bring in customers. I'm saying just take, it's a lovely sunny summer day. You get a break from the store, which is in a mall. So you get to see the sunshine, you get a nice lunch. So you see, I'm arrogant, commanding her to go pick up my lunch. No, I'm humble, saying, okay, you can have lunch too. Do me a favor and get me lunch. So she's saying, no, that's not my job. And I'm arrogant, saying, yes, it is your job. Okay? So you see, the concept of being humble or arrogant is not what they teach you, as to be lower than everybody and subservient and do what others want, make yourself last, put others first. No, that's just destroy your self-esteem so you're easy to control. Okay? So when your parents tell you, when your family tells you, this is what a good boy will do, is that true? Is that making you a good person who's capable of doing more in your life? Okay? So watch for the questions of humility and arrogance. Watch for anything in life where the concepts are perfectly accepted, because Buddha said, wow, or Christ said, or the chocolate chip cookie said, or whatever. Anybody said. And this is the way to do it. Okay? So nothing is the way to do it. Nothing is always the way to do it. There is always an exception to every rule. And the entrepreneur always sees when it's time to make an exception. At this time, it's right for me to serve you. But next time, it's right for me not to serve you. Buddha had one story. A man came and said to him, Buddha, does a dog have the Buddha nature, like a soul? And he said, yes. And the next day, somebody else came and asked the same question. He wasn't there the previous day. He said, does a dog have the Buddha nature? And Buddha said, no. And one disciple who was there for both these times said, Buddha, I don't understand. This one asked the same question, but to one you said yes, to one you said no. He says, you see, because what he was really asking, using the dog as an example, the answer was yes. And to this one, what he was really asking, the answer was no. So there is no rule to say, does every dog have a Buddha nature? Does anything, nothing exists that has a absolutely every time in every situation consistent answer. So the entrepreneur knows how to adapt to every situation, and that is humility. Arrogance is, this is how it's done. And that could be the way you want your coffee, with how much milk, how much sugar. And if somebody makes it a little differently, you say, no, this is no good. Make it like that. That's arrogant. Humility is, oh, well, that's how you make it, thank you. And you accept it. I mean, it's just an example. My point is that there's always an exception. If it's an acceptable situation, you adapt. Okay? So humility can also be not being concerned with what anyone thinks or says about you, right? Right now, the property developer has just tried to cheat me for $38,000. The notary worked with him. They basically lost one of my payments of $38,000 and are telling me, oh, you owe us this much more money. Okay? So I can be humble and accept it, or I can be really nasty and fight back. Okay? So you have to not be always, yes, nice, okay, this is all right, this I can accept. Sometimes you are like that, and sometimes you become a lion and scream and say, this is not acceptable, and I'm going to bite you back. Okay? So that's the idea. You've got to be adaptable to every situation. Fight, or just be calm, creative, never accepting no, never accepting anything that isn't what you want, like within yourself. So it means that all the ideas and teachings and concepts from family, culture, religion, everything has to be considered as flawed, wrong. You have to then do what you think is right and see the results. How do you feel? Oh, I feel bad. Why do I feel bad? Well, they made me feel bad. Okay. Okay? So you test everything from the beginning without believing what anybody says. Now, that applies to business. In business, people will say, that's a bad business, or that won't work, or you'll never make money, or you'll lose money, or whatever it is. Or the other one is, oh, this is a great investment. This is a great business. And then you get in and lose your money, right? Okay? So thinking for yourself. I love thunder. So much energy. How is that thunder? Do you know how thunder and lightning is formed? You do know? You study meteorology?
No, I checked it online.
Oh, you mean googly how it is? Yeah, it's amazing. Do you know? This sound you're hearing is tiny particles of dirt and dust that are rubbing together. When there's temperature fluctuations, wind blows from the ground, and if there's a lot of dirt and dust particles blowing up fast enough because of the winds or atmospheric conditions, as that air, which is warm, goes up, it gets cooler. And there's more movement. As it's moving, those little tiny dirt and dust particles are rubbing together, creating friction. That friction creates a static electricity. When there is enough dirt, we could say, in the cloud that builds up to such a point, it explodes with thunder and lightning. And that is a static electric shock. That's what it is. So such power and the rain that floods and everything comes from teeny tiny little dust and dirt rubbing together. Okay? So when you say, oh, I'm a small person, I'm a little person, what can I do? Two little people together can generate enough power to do anything.
Yeah, and the third brain is formed.
And who's in which?
When two brains are conversing,
Right.
there's a third brain which is formed.
Or another saying one friend of mine from Russia said, two people together can do the work of four people each on their own. Okay? So here's again, entrepreneur mind, enterprising mind that is humble, knows I don't know everything. I see everything. You look at everything and learn from that. Where are there ideas, lessons? So from the thunderstorm, we learn that there is nothing so small that it cannot be generating something so big. Right? Everything, if you take this building, is a wall. A wall is made of bricks. Bricks are made of cement. Cement is made of sand, rock, and glue, and water. Tiny things. So actually, this building of this wall is actually a lot of tiny little grains of sand. Start to look at things like that. Basically, you know everything is made of atoms. And an atom is too tiny to see, and it's got a neutron, electron, a proton, right? I love it. So much power. But from dust. Look at everything and know that what you're looking at is 90% air, right? Because the solid particles in an atom are moving so quickly, they give the appearance of solidity. But essentially, on an atomic level, this is 90% space. It's just they're moving so quickly, it becomes solid, okay? So everything you look at, know that it's made up of atoms. Do a little Google searching on what is the atomic structure of wood or whatever. Get your mind to study things which open your mind to say, this is actually made up of what? In this case, it's plastic, right? Vinyl, whatever, laminate. But whatever it is, what is it made of? That chair, the plastic, the metal, the floor, the walls. See everything for the smallest part of what it is. Just as an exercise, do this all the time. And you'll see how it changes how your mind works. Because remember, the only thing you actually possess is your mind. So we need to train that mind, to develop that mind so it can see things other people cannot see. And that's why there's the entrepreneur who's the boss, having how many people work for him or her. Because that mind can see. What is a company? It's CEO. We all look at them, right? But no, it's how many people work in that company. Again, it's the same as the wall is made of grains of sand. That a company is made of the people that work there, and the machines and the parts and the products, okay? So just always look at something and think, what is it? You know, glass is made of sand, right? Where do you think, what do you think? They go to the beach and pick up any sand? No. Sand, the sand that makes glass is special sand. It's not normal sand. It's found in mines, just like any other mineral. And someone will discover a mine which has the sand that can be used for glass. And when they melt that sand, everything is melted. There's actually no residue or particles left, okay? So glass is sand, but not sand from the beach. It's a different kind of sand. And when it melts, it becomes clear, invisible, see-through. So you see how I look at the glass and I know in my mind that it's sand in a cave or in a mine, okay? Look at everything that way. When you see wood, know that you're looking at a tree. And a tree means I'm looking at a forest. And where did that wood come from? What tree? Where did that tree begin? Could be someone had a big land and they planted trees and grew them for 60 years and then harvested the trees to sell it for wood. So there's a business, a farm, okay? So you see how everything has a beginning, is much more than what you see. And the more you spend time, as much as you can, with your paper, with your pen, you see everything. Your mind works in a different way. It becomes very creative. The more you think about things you were taught about your personality, being humble, being arrogant is bad, being humble is good, and this and that, but it just makes me weak. And it destroys my confidence. It makes me a sheep and not a lion. Why? Well, sheep are easier to control than lions. So, is what I'm taught good for me or just to make me easy to control? Now, why do we need to be, as a species, easy to control? Well, because if we're let loose, we become arrogant. And then the whole thing is a mess. So they don't want people to be arrogant because then we're out of control, right? Okay, so step by step. Teach me, be humble, don't be arrogant. Why? Being arrogant, if everybody was arrogant, it'd be a dangerous place. Okay, so how can I be confident and not aggressively arrogant? If I can have confidence without having the arrogance which puts down, hurts, abuses other people, then I won't get the resistance of saying you're a bad person because you're too arrogant. So in that way, when I know the reason that there is a teaching which limits me, and I can not follow that teaching and become more developed, but not in the way for the reason they made that teaching, so not become an arrogant, aggressive dictator, but become a confident, powerful leader who's still humble, then I won't get attacked and put down. So then I am free to be me. You're free to love and respect your family without it becoming something they don't like, right? Okay? So you're getting, because you were asking about how to deal with these things. Does this make sense? That should give you. Okay, so now we've got your certificates. And then we chit-chat if you want, because usually people never ask questions when I say, do you have questions? But as soon as we say goodbye, okay, finished, then everybody has questions. So we're going in that direction now. Okay, now what? So now you get your certificates that you've participated, and in 6 months and 1 year, you tell me what you've done with your life, and then I'll tell you if you graduated. All right, Ryan. There you go. That's a very lovely certificate. Your certificate of completion, sir. Congratulations. There you go. All right.
Can you stay up with David for another
Oh.
5 seconds?
Okay, so we've got his lovely certificate. Yes, everyone should have their picture. No.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, Andrea. Claire. There you go. Congratulations.
Thank you, David.
I hope you've learned something and you get happy life. Okay, good? Great. All right, Catherine. There you go. Wow, you've got a lot of names.
Yeah.
Sylvia, Catherine, Lai, Moklan, Fukon.
It's for HRDC purposes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but you still have a lot of names.
Yeah.
Congratulations
Thank
and
you.
all of that.
Thank you very much.
And there you go. It's.
Yeah,
I think
thank
you're
you.
supposed to. There you go. Okay. Good. Okay.
Thank you very much. David.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay.